Hey Art Nouveaugers, Leilani Joy here on the Art New blog, aka the show where I'm not painting or creating anything, so you're probably like, turning this off, I don't even care, she talks enough. But actually I'm here today because I wanted to share with you a really great question that popped up in my online class, the Art School Express. And I wanted to share it with you guys as well because I just think it is such an important question. So one of my students asked me, just very casually, she showed me a piece that she's working on, and she said, is this piece good enough to be in my portfolio? And this is a question that I have personally struggled with a lot in my own artistic career. So I just wanted to take a quick moment to tell you how I feel about it when I was in art school, after art school, and now. Portfolios were a big thing that's been talked about before art school, when you're in art school. You know, where's your portfolio? We want to see this portfolio, right? So I just always had it in my mind that my portfolio was this like very set in stone thing. Like this is this official document that represents me as an artist. And to me, that was just very, very terrifying. Every piece I did, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a portfolio piece. I would literally say that to myself before I started working on it. And as many of you guys know or probably experienced yourself, that is a huge amount of pressure. Like, think about it like, I just felt like, okay, I'm gonna have to tattoo all my best pieces of artwork on my body and say, this is representing me as an artist, and it's permanent and forever. And in art school, I had a really hard time with this, and post-art school, I had a really hard time with this because I did not feel confident in my portfolio I created at school, and I did not feel confident to send it out to potential clients. And so as soon as I graduated, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna create this perfect portfolio. And months, years went by, and I just could not do it. And the funny part is as soon as I started focusing on just creating artwork, exploring what I wanted to do, trying to find my own style, trying to find what I wanted to say with my art, a portfolio started to develop itself. I went through this experimental time where I'm like, I just want to try different styles, different techniques, and to see where I fit. And then I'm like, okay, I liked this. Let's do another one like that. So anyways, to get to the answer, I now feel that a portfolio is much more of a living, breathing organism, so to speak. It's more like planting seeds and then nurturing those seeds to grow and evolve and change over time to a mighty tree or, even beyond that, a forest. So I really just want you guys to think of it that way, is that you're adding in, you're taking out. Every time you do a new piece, if you think that new piece replaces one of your older pieces, then put that in. So it's just a constantly changing thing. So I think if you think of it that way, as it representing the best that you have right now, it will relieve a little bit of that pressure. So a more concrete way to think about it is when you've done a new piece, I want you guys to ask yourself 3 questions. Number 1, am I at least somewhat satisfied with this piece? And I say somewhat because if you're anything like me, many artists are extremely hard on themselves. And if you wait to love or even really like a piece that you've done, you may never develop a portfolio. So I just say somewhat because if you're somewhat satisfied with it, that is good enough. Number 2, does this piece represent my current skill level? This one's a little bit more gray, but if you feel that you really did the best that you can do with the current tools and skill set you have, then absolutely, that's a yes, that passes. And finally, number 3, would I like to do more work similar to this piece? And when I say similar, I don't mean the subject matter or the storytelling or anything like that. I mean more like the technique, the approach that you used, maybe not the materials, because there's some artists that like to work in different materials, but they still have a similar result. But just, do you feel that you'd like to do more pieces in that direction, basically? And so if that piece passes all 3 of those, then absolutely goes in the portfolio. If it doesn't, then that is totally okay too. Do not panic and be like, oh, I wasted my time. You're never wasting your time because you're learning and you're experimenting. So if you were like, well, I'm somewhat happy with it, it represents my current skill levels, but I hated the process. I did not like the medium I used. I did not like the technique. I do not want to do that again. Then don't put it in your portfolio. Because if you show this to a potential client, which is what we're working towards, they may say, well, I really like that piece. Can you do something like that? And if you're like, no, I really don't want to do that again, then that shouldn't be in your portfolio. As a general rule, 8 to 12 pieces is enough to showcase your best work. So think of it that way. Or if you're just starting out, just focus on developing 8 pieces. Maybe later on in my business of art class, I'll talk more about this, about, putting your strongest piece at the front and your second strongest piece at the back. That's just kind of a general rule. You want to make a great first impression and a great last impression, and everything in between can be not as good. But yeah, we'll get into that in more depth later. So something that you may notice I didn't mention when talking about criteria for a portfolio piece is comparing it to other artists' portfolios. And this is something that I strongly do not advise. I'm not going to say I haven't done it, but the truth is that a portfolio is more of a personal journey for each artist. And comparing your portfolio to someone else's portfolio is probably just going to terrify you to the point where you can't create anything. And, I've said this in my online class, but if you're not in my class, then I'll say it to you here as well, is I really want to push this idea of not comparing your chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 20 or far and beyond that. So I just want you guys to think about it as your own personal creative journey and just continue to create pieces, continue to try and outdo yourself, and you will be amazed at how far your portfolio is going to develop and change. And if you would like to get some critiques from me and other students and really help and develop your portfolio, then I would love to have you in my online course, the Art School Express. You can sign up right here at artnouveauu.com. And actually till April 1st, I'm offering you guys $65 off, which is like a super awesome sale. I'll talk about this in another video, but I'm switching platforms. So there's going to be a little downtime between the class. So if you get in before April 1st, before I have to move the whole thing elsewhere, you'll get the $65 off discount. So use the coupon code SEEYA65 and you can jump in the class and save a lot of money. Anyways, I hope you guys will continue to create and don't let yourself get, bogged down by artist block and intimidation by others, because, dude, I've been there and it sucks and it doesn't help us stay creative. So I hope this little insight on this question gave you guys something to think about today. And I hope to see you guys on another blog or episode of Art Nouveau or the Paint Along very soon. All right, guys, I'm outie.